Today I'm making a beautiful flower quilt using only one basic block. It's super easy, fast, fun, and there's not a lot of tiny piecing to cut. No fussy measuring, no fiddly trimming, just straight up quilting joy. I cannot wait to show you this one. I'm pulling out my special stash for this. You know, the fabrics that make me feel just a little bit fancy every time I use them. Today, only the most stunning fabrics will do. I will need 4 5-inch squares from each fabric. I'm making sure each flower is from a single fabric, but if you'd like to save some time, you can absolutely use a charm pack instead. Most charm packs include 2 squares of each print, so you just have to mix 2 fabrics per flower. It is a great shortcut. Now the easiest way to cut these squares is to cut 5-inch strips of the yardage and then just cut the squares out. And don't worry about that leftover fabric, I have a great plan for it. I do not waste fancy fabric here. Now, we also need to add some white fabric to the mix. First, I need 2.5-inch squares, 8 for each flower, so 128 in total. And we also need 1-inch white stripes for our flowers. Okay, let's make ourselves a flower. First, we need to draw diagonal lines on all 8 white squares real quick, and we will be sewing over that line, so no need to add any 1/4 inch seam allowance lines or anything like that. I promise simple, and I meant it. Next, we are going to sew these squares on opposite sides of our 5-inch squares. We do this for all the 4 same fabric squares. We want to be precise here, or as precise as we possibly can. We want these squares to cover 2 of the corners as perfectly as we can make them, because they will be replacing those corners, and by the time we're done, we want a straight 5-inch square to work with. If the corners are wonky, the whole thing will be wonky too. Okay, let's trim off the excess and press. Mind you, if I had added an extra seam, to the outside of the excess fabric, I would essentially be left with a half square triangle I could save for another project. I haven't done HSTs in a while for this channel because for some reason those videos always do really bad on here, but I miss them so much. So I'm thinking it may be time for a special HST project just for my Patreon community. If you're a fellow HST enthusiast, I know you're out there, come join me at Patreon at www.patreon.com/soeasybysandy. As a member, you will get exclusive content every month, early ad-free access to YouTube videos, and a peek behind the scenes of what I'm working on. Plus, your support helps me keep creating fun and interesting new content for you. Next, we are adding our thin white strip. We're going to be separating these blocks so they aren't a cross, but rather petals. You could add a teeny tiny square in the middle of these petals, but again, we're doing this the easy way, and while adding the button wouldn't be that complicated, it is an extra step we don't have to add right now. And honestly, this will still look absolutely stunning without it. We start by joining the sides with our strips. Then we want to add the center strip, making sure our top and bottom halves are aligned. Now, all there's left to do to this pretty colorful fabric is to press it flat and to trim off any excess. And to show it to you, of course, look at how pretty this is and how effortlessly we made it. And now we make 50 more of these. And by now we are doing this with our eyes closed. Actually, don't do that, it's dangerous. But it is that simple to make these. I've made this simple block with you so many times now, but it is so versatile that somehow it always looks completely different by the time I'm done with it. We've done crosses and O's and rainbows and Welsh quilts. It truly is the perfect block. It fits all shapes and sizes. And as for making flowers out of it, this reminds me of a Portuguese legend about one of our most beloved queens. She would feed bread to the poor daily until the king found out and forbade it. But she just decided to keep doing it anyway, so she would sneak out with the bread tucked in her robe. Then one day he caught her and asked her what she was carrying, and she said it was roses. He demanded to see them, and when she showed them, roses fell. It's known as the miracle of the roses actually, and it is lovely. Each of these blocks are about 10 inches, so 9.5 inches once we're done and they're sewn together. Which is another awesome tip for any beginner quilter who wants to do something that they will be absolutely proud of. The bigger the blocks, the easier it will be because you won't have to do as many. I know this is kind of obvious, but it's so easy to forget and feel overwhelmed when you're trying to pick the right pattern to make when you're not really confident in your skills yet. I remember how that felt. I saw these beautiful patterns and I wanted to make them, and sometimes I did and it took forever and I would get so discouraged. Well, this one is as easy and as stunning and as fulfilling as they come. I'm pretty sure someone has done this exact pattern before, but I don't know the name to it. I just came across the idea when I was doing the Welsh quilt crosses and it has stayed with me since. And before you know it, we are done and these are our lovely blocks. Let's mix these together and see what we get. Now, we could just sew these as they are, but I think we need a little bit of separation so the flowers don't just all blend in together and make O's. If we don't add this extra sashing, I fear that all we will see is the white separating the petals, but this way we are adding a larger sashing. 2 inches is more than enough, and that is why the flowers will pop out of the quilt and you will be able to enjoy each one of them individually. For this step, you could also add a colorful square separating the flowers, like in the corner for each 4. That would look pretty cool, but we are keeping it simple and easy today. It is a 4x4 quilt top for me. You can just keep adding those flowers until you reach the size you want for yours. Sewing the rows together is not difficult at all. Adding a top strip isn't either. It's when you join the rows that you want to be a little bit more careful in making sure that the flowers all match. I mean, a mismatched look could look good, but we're going for straight lines today, so make sure to spot where the flower limits are and make sure they line up with the others. Other than that, we're just flowing through this and enjoying the process. I'm thinking this would make an awesome table runner, a really wide one with green fabric instead of white. That way, it will look like a flowery garden patch running all across the table. I may just do one of those. Until there are no more flowers left to gather. And this is what we get, our very own flower garden done in the easiest, quickest way possible. Oh, in the funniest way possible too, because I had a blast. I hope you love it and I will see you soon. Bye bye!